Shalom, shalom, family. It's the Hebrew Life again. Shot Bay Jerusalem. And I'm back with another lesson. You know what it is. It's QPA. Questions, prompts, and answers. Y'all like and share the video. And we're going to get it started, family. Like and share the video. Y'all give me a second. Let's get that thing going. And we're going to be ready to go. How y'all doing out here? Shabbat shalom to all my bros out there. You know, their year is almost over with, man. We just got past, the Thanksgiving fiasco. Now we got to make it through Christmas. Don't forget to celebrate the Feast of Dedication, man. We dedicate your temple. We dedicate your goals to what you want to do.
Rules locked in the times, everybody coming to the watchman. Tribulation, every nation, devil out here plotting. Going back to the world that's like eating your vomit. Son of the highest, crack the sky like a comet. We don't need opinions, you could really keep your comments. Thought he wasn't coming, but he had perfect timing. Can't be sleeping on your job, man, we the watchmen. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, like a rocket. Israel, we got problems, man, yeah, they can't.
Yeah. So I'm going to put the link to the chat in the comments, fam. Shabbat shalom. I'll copy the link. Do all the fixings. A lot going on out there. So in the world today, we see that Hamas and Israeli has went back to fighting. They resumed their battles. Their war. And, it's not looking good. It's not looking good in Gaza, because this war is probably one of the wars that'll never end, because you got generations on one side that's been done wrong, and you got generations on one side that's been conditioned to keep a certain mindset and to keep treating the people a certain type of way. The war won't end, Even if they make a peace treaty, I don't think it's going to be the end of this war. Our land of Israel is very desired, Many nations and many conquerors have came through and tried to have Israel for themselves and have the Middle East for themselves because of the beautiful landmass and all the resources that's in the area. But many nations have failed to keep their hands gripped around Israel, Egypt, and the Middle East. Us being in the last days now is just to the point now where I see that Yah is bringing everybody into the valley of Jehoshaphat slowly but surely. So let's get into it. We got a news reporter, the press, straight from the Gaza, reporting on what's going on there. This is free use, so no copyright infringement. This is freedom of free use of, whatever news clips, whatever clips I want to use. We're not trying to paint nobody in a certain image. Don't shoot the messenger. Look, we just reporting over here.
Well, it is now just past 20. That's 11 o'clock in the morning in Gaza, where Israel has intensified and expanded its land, air and sea attacks since a week-long ceasefire expired on Friday morning. Air raids have struck several neighborhoods in Gaza City on Saturday. Rescue crews there say they no longer have the working machinery to search for survivors under the rubble. And the death toll is rising again. At least 200 Palestinians have now been killed in these renewed Israeli attacks. The Gaza Health Ministry says more than 15,000 Palestinians have been killed since October the 7th. Well, Israeli forces have struck areas in southern Gaza particularly hard in what appears to be an expanding offensive. Palestinians who were forcibly displaced from their homes in the north have now been ordered to move even further south. Well, Hind Kudari is in Deir al-Balah in the central Gaza Strip. Hind, Israel seems to have picked up just where it left off. Can you tell us how people there are feeling? I mean, everything's just started all over again.
Well, let me start with the latest update where the Israeli forces have been raiding Khan Yunis, the middle area where we are right now, and the center of the Gaza city. There has been a couple of injuries transferred to this hospital where I am right now. There have been dozens of people injured, and the ambulances are coming in and out. Palestinians and people in the Gaza Strip are very frustrated after the Israeli forces published a map where they're separating the Gaza Strip into blocks and numbers. Palestinians right now, they don't know how they're going to deal with this map, because most of the people do not have electricity and they also do not have internet. At the same time, people do not where to go. They don't know where to go. More than 1 million Palestinians evacuated from the northern area to the south, and it's packed right now in the south. So after that, people are asking, they don't know. I think there is an injury right now. 2 ambulances right now entered the Al-Shuhada Al-Aqsa hospital, and this is an explosion we heard a couple of minutes ago. We're trying to see what the injuries are, but
Yeah, fam. As y'all see, after the ceasefire, the Israelis then got right back to bombing the Palestinians. Now, the Palestinians already don't have much, you know. They fighting for a land that they believe is theirs, and so is the Israelis, you know. Eventually, the truth will come out, you know, that it's neither of their lands, and neither of them will reap the benefits of having a land. It's our land, you know what I'm saying? If you read the Bible and understand, but it's real sad what's going on over the 2, airstrikes. These Israelis don't have planes. I mean, these Palestinians don't have planes. All they have is rocket launchers, AKs, and maybe a few mortars and, Scud missiles, and maybe some explosives that they could put on the ground. But other than that, they're pretty much outnumbered. The Israelis is hitting them from the sky, and they hitting them hard, as y'all see. Over 200 airstrikes in one day. It ain't nothing else left to blow up in the Gaza, from what I'm saying. It's nothing but bricks, blew up buildings. As you see the reporter saying, the Palestinian people don't know where to go. They don't have any electricity, they don't have any water, and no, Egypt's not letting them come in. Syria's not letting them come in. So they pretty much is surrounded and blockaded out from leaving while the Israelis do these airstrikes. And pretty soon, all the Palestinians gonna be living on the ground because there ain't gonna be nowhere else to go. Let's get the second part of this report to see what's going on in the Gaza. It's real sad, I think the Most High that, he's shedding some light on what's going on. But if you ask me, eventually a peace treaty of some type is gonna have to be drew up between these Islamic countries and the Jewish state of Israel. Is the treaty gonna be honored? I don't believe so, but that's just me personally. But some type of peace treaty is gonna have to be wrote. Otherwise, this is a never-ending war. And then you have more and more. You have the Russians and the Chinese and the Iranians, which is the Persians, Gog and Magog in the scriptures, Ezekiel 37. I don't see America or the Israeli state winning this battle or war. You know, it's going to end with them losing. They're surrounded by Muslim countries. You have Russia, Iran, Saudi Arabia can flip on them. Turkey can flip on them at any time. So you got a lot of different countries that's on the Muslim Islamic side of things who are more likely to keep their loyalty to those states. And then with this being done to Palestine, showing that these people have come in the land since 1948, and the land of Palestine has gotten smaller and smaller and smaller, to down to the point where they just stuck on the Gaza Strip. You know, went from having a whole piece of land to having nothing, showing that these people ain't gonna stop until they own the whole Middle East. And the resistance is gonna kick in because the other states like Afghanistan, Iraq have already been sacked. People like Iran, and even Saudi Arabia, Syria, Turkey, and Pakistan, all these different countries is gonna have a high guard on keeping their nation tight because they don't want this to happen to them.
The shelling is not stopping. Continuous explosions in different areas. Gunboats have been opening fire, and the F-16s and the artillery. So this is the scene right now behind me in the Gaza Strip.
Hind, you're talking about these ongoing bombardments. Can you tell us about the pattern of bombing you've been seeing? Do people there feel that this is paving the way for an expanded Israeli ground offensive? Will we be seeing those tanks moving south?
Okay, so let's start with the north, where in Jabalia, Beit Lahia, there are ongoing airstrikes right now. And we're also talking about the city in Al Jallat neighborhood and Al Sheikh Radwan. And in the middle area where we are right now, there have been non-stop explosions all night and right now. And we are seeing ambulances entering the hospital. Well, let's move to the south, where also there have been a couple of buildings and residential areas targeted by the Israeli forces. There has been non-stop explosions across the Gaza Strip in different areas, and people are still told to evacuate. People are asking us, where should we evacuate? Should we go? They can't go back to the north because it's separated, and the north is completely isolated on the south, and people are now fearing an isolation between the southern area and the middle area in the Gaza city. People don't know where to go. Everywhere is packed. We're talking about hospitals, schools, UN facilities. People have been seeking refuge in these areas, and other people from the north also seek refuge in their families' houses or their friends' houses. So we're talking about an area, Khan Yunis, where there were 200,000 people living there. Right now, there are more than 1 million people seeking refuge in Khan Yunis, one of the biggest cities in the southern area, and they're still called and warned to evacuate. So now what will happen is the Israelis will call the block number on the map and will, like, for example, they're gonna tell people in block Z, you have to move to block Y. But at the end of the day, yesterday they warned people to evacuate to Rafah, but at the same time Rafah was being bombed, so people feel helpless, they're frustrated, they're full of despair. They're literally telling us there is nowhere place safe and we don't know where to go.
I'm sure. Hind.
As y'all see, with bombs flying everywhere, it's hard to tell somebody to move around and go places. I wouldn't move anywhere either. Every time I move, a bomb drop on my left side, a bomb dropping to my right side, a building fall to my left side, a building fall to my right side. You know, Psalms 91, we won't be touching on them type of situations. But in this situation, in Samaria, you know, everybody seemed to be, you know, getting what they had coming to them. You know what I'm saying? I don't see this playing out in a good way. You know, this is going to infuriate the Muslim world. I've been watching videos of, you know, this Hamas versus the Israeli war, and there's a lot been going on. These people on these people on the Palestinian side have nothing to lose. They screaming out Hamdalillah when they shooting rockets and shooting guns. These people is coming on suicide missions and they really don't have nothing to lose, literally. They started this war with rocks, throwing rocks at tanks. Now, with the help of Iran, Russia, and China, they're becoming a big power and heavy to deal with. Eventually, I seen a video, and I'll try to get it in here before the video over with. If not, I'll put it in another video. But it was a video of these prisoners who Hamas had, and these prisoners said that they was treated well. They ate the same thing Hamas ate. They was treated respectfully. They was talked to respectfully. And eventually, the Hamas had released these women. Now, these Jewish women said that they had a $2.5 billion gate that was supposed to protect them, and they said Hamas smashed through it like it was nothing, like it was, like it was nothing. So the Most High is doing His thing where even these people money and the technologies that they have and they didn't put in place to protect them aren't even protecting them. Even if they put $2.5 billion into something to protect them, it could be crushed like it's nothing. This war has been going on for a long time. I'm gonna let some experts speak on the situation. We got a professor out of Chicago. I can't come up with his name right now. I'd probably be intact in the video, but I'm gonna let him respond. I'm gonna let him tell his part on what's going on in Israel and how this war is very important to what's going on around the world. This war will affect the whole world, and people don't realize this is going to affect how goods is transferred, how gas and electricity and energy is transferred. This is going to change the whole religious scale of the world. This is going to give the Muslim people more of a footing to stick together. This war is connected to religion and finances so much that people won't even realize it. The Bible says the love of money is the root to all evil. The love of money, not the love of anything else, but money. And in this land, also, what's powerful is to have land. Mostly all of these wars are over land. So that should let you know where the real money is.
Obvious question. Why does the United States give Israel so much aid and without any conditions? Israel's supporters sometimes argue that it is because Israel is a vital strategic asset. This is not a serious argument. In fact, giving Israel nearly unconditional support is one of the reasons we have a terrorism problem. Others argue that there's a moral rationale for the special relationship. Israel is said to be a democracy that shares our values. The two countries certainly share some values, but Israel is a Jewish state which clearly privileges its Jewish citizens. Non-Jews are second-class citizens in both theory and practice. The United States, on the other hand, is a liberal democracy that works hard to treat all of its citizens equally. It certainly is not a Christian state that treats non-Christians as second-class citizens. Indeed, that kind of discrimination, which is part of Israel's essence, is antithetical to the American way of life. Furthermore, Israel's treatment of the Palestinians in the occupied territories is sharply at odds with U.S. values. Finally, there's the claim that the American people have such a favorable view of Israel that they demand their politicians back the special relationship. This argument, however, is not persuasive. If you look at the survey data on how the American public thinks about Israel, as Grant made clear before I spoke, there's no question that Americans have a generally favorable image of Israel, in part because media coverage tends to be favorable. But as poll after poll shows, that support is not especially deep or wide. So what explains the special relationship if there is no strategic or moral imperative, and if most Americans do not favor it? Our answer, of course, is the lobby. What exactly is the lobby? Steve and I argue that it's a loose coalition of individuals and groups who actively work to influence U.S. foreign policy in a pro-Israel direction. It's not a centralized organization, and the groups that make up the lobby do not agree on every issue. It includes organizations like AIPAC, the Anti-Defamation League, the Conference of Presidents, the Zionist Organization of America, and Christians United for Israel, just to name a few.
Family. Okay, we back. So as y'all seen, man, forgive me for not knowing this man's name. He's a professor out of the University of Chicago. And I got a few more of his videos. But as he was saying, America has a personal investment inside of Israel. Them and Europe has had an investment inside of the Middle East since 1948. The question he had was why they put so much money into the safety and the keeping up of Israel. They put billions of dollars into this nation, plus the reparations they got from Germany and other countries in Europe. You know, they sitting on a lot of cash. Now the question is, can America fight these many wars on these many battlefronts? When you got a battle in the Middle East, you still have to keep the forts you have in Afghanistan and Iraq. You have a war going on in Africa, which I'm going to do a video over that. It's a revolution going on in Africa where they're having a revolution against France and several other countries that's had a stronghold over Africa for centuries. It's just getting deep. You know, you still got China and Taiwan. You still got the war in Ukraine between Ukraine and Russia. And it's just the plot thickens and thickens. You got your own domestic battle in America going on with racism, poverty, and crime going on. You got this war between computers and humans. Jobs are becoming less and less because computers and technology is doing more and more, which makes people become more dependent on technology and less dependent on their natural selves. So with all this going on, I feel like America's gonna have to pick their poison. You can't fight these many battles on these many war fronts and win all of the wars. They're gonna have to pick which battle they're gonna have to pull back off of. Oh man, I wish I would have had that video. I had a video of a recap on, because China just had a meeting with Biden, I think earlier this week, and they said they was letting Biden them have it, telling them that this is their fault. And America didn't even argue with China. They was like, okay, you right. But probably because they know that they're trying to cool China down because they know they got a whole war going on in Israel. So they know this. So they know they can't fight and help Taiwan like they want to. So they're going to have to pull back on something. I think they chose to pull back from the Chinese war and having a dispute with China. Being China is becoming the number one producer in the GDP and all that. They getting the most money right now. They having the most. They all in Africa doing deals with Africa. They all in the Middle East doing deals with Iran, and they got ties to Russia. Right now, China a big dog. China the big dog right now. So let's get into the economy. We got the Duran. Shout out to them. These brothers is out of Greece, and they over there in Europe, so they seeing another perspective of what's going on. What they're saying is predictions by the United States that Russia, through the embargoes, through the sanctions, they would be struggling right now. Russia is up 5% in their cash right now, when all the experts in America predicted they would be down there up right now. So somebody know what they're doing with their finances over there in Russia. Let's get into it.
Let's revisit the Russian economy, because the Russian economy is booming, I guess you could say. The European Union, they ran their forecasts, and they say the Russian economy will grow at around 2.5%, I think they said. We've heard over 3% from, I think mostly from Russian sources. And Putin was speaking the other day at a cultural event in St. Petersburg, and he said for November, Russia's looking at 5.5% growth. And I have to say, Putin was very confident, very relaxed, very confident about the Russian economy. So, you've been following the Russian economy very closely. We've been talking about the Russian economy, it seems, for years. And I just want to quickly say that when all of this started, the conflict, the SMO, all the analysts were saying that the Russian economy will collapse, and that was the aim. And you were saying, and we were saying, and people can go back and see those shows from January, February, March, that no, the Russian economy is not going to collapse. It's much stronger than people realize. But I think even we're surprised at how resilient the economy, the Russian economy, has been.
Yes, I think people.
Maybe even Putin's surprised. Maybe even Putin's surprised. Sorry.
Well, he has acknowledged as much. But talking about pessimistic forecasts, I mean, at the start of this year, the European Union, the European Commission, was predicting a 1% contraction in the economy, the Russian economy this year. It now definitely looks as if we're going to get a 3% expansion. And as you absolutely rightly say, this is in fact not reflective of the immediate data, of the most recent data. The last couple of months, it's been running, the Russian economy has been running with a growth rate of over 5%. Over 5%. So, and what is very interesting is that it is doing that despite the central bank having raised interest rates. I mean, interest rates in Russia have doubled. But despite that, the economy still appears to have an enormous amount of forward momentum. Apparently, consumer spending has increased, demand has increased, but the big story, the underlying reason why there is this huge increase in growth is of an investment boom. There's an enormous surge in investment.
Yeah, gang, yeah. So, as y'all see, rubles is up in value. You know what I'm saying? And these people reporting ain't even from America, so they giving you probably one of the cleanest reviews you're gonna get on this war. Right now, America is abandoned. Let's keep it real. America is abandoning Ukraine. I think Ukraine about to do a deal with Russia. I think they this close to doing a deal with Russia, from what I read in the news, because America can't help them no more. There's no more weapons to get them. They have relinquished their powers to so many different areas in the world, so many different wars in the world, that Biden don't even know who he talking to when he on the podium. Who are we talking to today? What's the read the card? Okay, because he don't know what's going on. You know, nobody's talking about the election. Nobody's talking about nothing, man. It's about to get real ugly, man. It's already ugly. You finna see the good, the bad, and the uglier. So with that being said, we know that the economy is taking on a new change. Being that America is not going to be the Federal Reserve for money in the world, that China and Russia and the Middle East, you see them building all kind of stuff in Dubai, and then you got Saudi Arabia building them in Dubai. The hot spots is not going to be in the West no more. I'll do a video about that also, about how the finances have been moved out of America to other countries, to China, to Indonesia, made in Vietnam. If you see something made in the United States, it's rare. Most things come from China, and they have always come from China. Even if they come from China, they're remanufactured in companies and factories out here. Mostly everything comes from China. Just look at the wholesale market. With that being said, this money is going to eventually become digital because nobody is actually counting money anymore. Mostly everybody is sliding cards. They got Apple Pay, Google Pay, PayPal. You got all these different things where people are using plastic more than anything. The use of dollars is down, and it's going to continue to go down. Most countries have went digital. It's safer, it's cleaner, they feel, and it's more attractive. Yeah, that means if you take and spend $1, they can't track dollars right now. They could track you spending the dollars, but they can't track every single dollar you have. With the digital currency, they'll be able to track every dollar you got. If you got some extra money, it had to be on some secret file, hacking and scamming to go up even more once digital currency goes. Then people will be getting their whole bank account swiped. You know, won't nobody be robbing you with a gun. They'll be robbing you over the internet. Robbing you by stealing your information.
$931.4 million. That's how much the Federal Reserve will spend to print bills in 2023. But there's a problem with U.S. cash.
We haven't modernized or changed our currency. That's probably a mistake.
For example,
we should have dollar coins instead of paper notes.
Physical currency has changed around the world, but not in the U.S.
The Nordic countries, we see a move away from cash and to digital. India had a government-sponsored program to eliminate small denominations of cash.
The rest of the world has moved towards polymer notes, which are a form of plastic, last something like 4 times as long as the old paper notes.
Meanwhile, an increasing number of Americans are ditching cash for electronic payments. The Pew Research Center found 41% of Americans in 2022 didn't use cash in a given week. That number rose from 29% in 2018. Still, cash demand is growing, and experts say it's not going away.
There's actually more cash in circulation today than ever.
Cash production has been growing year by year by 0.5% to 2% for at least a decade.
U.S. government is very much engaged in electronic commerce in addition to being the entity that prints cash.
In terms of electronic transactions, replacing cash, no. Cash always has an important and valuable spot.
So what's wrong with U.S. cash, and how can we fix it? The $1 bill was the most popular currency in the U.S. for years. But in 2017, for the first time in history, the $100 bill surpassed the one. And today, 18.5 billion $100 notes are in circulation. $1 bills are the second most circulated at 14.3 billion notes, and $2 bills are circulated the least at 1.5 billion.
The $100 comes from U.S. currency being a global currency. And a lot of those hundreds are outside the country, and they're being used for store of value.
Some speculate that the rise in $100 bills in circulation may also be to avoid taxes or for illegal activity, since cash can be traded anonymously.
I think the other argument is somebody involved in illegal activity will find a way to get around not having $100 bills.
Credit cards or electronic payments of any type, there's a way to track them.
But I do understand wanting to be fully anonymous as you go about your day, and cash does provide that.
They don't want their wife to know they spent $200 on a coin for collectors, for example.
And in the past, accessibility has determined what currency Americans choose.
The $2 bill has lost its place in everyday usage. It was left out of the vending machine market. Denominations like the $2 bill or the $half coin, because there was no space made in the actual cash registers, they became less popular. In the 1960s, the $half lost its place because it wasn't included in the use of parking meters.
The Federal Reserve has also ended production of currency before and tried to change different denominations.
America used to make things called half cents. The penny wasn't always the lowest denomination of coin.
Bills over $100 like the $500, $1,000, and $5,000 were discontinued in 1969 because they were rarely spent. And at that time, checks and credit card payments were on the rise.
In the late 1960s, the Bureau of Engraving and Printing called the Treasury, and the Treasury called the Federal Reserve, say, if we're going to print these bills again, we have to make new plates. There was a debate going on at the highest levels. And they thought, nobody's going to use cash in 10 years.
And 6 in 10 Americans say convenience is key to spending. The U.S. Treasury oversees both the Bureau.
Yes, family. As they told y'all, the U.S. dollar is falling, and then the use of the U.S. dollar is falling because of the use of technology and digital currency. The money isn't real, family. The money isn't real. That's what needs to be understood. The money is a banknote. You use the banknote to buy the things that you need. It's not gold. It's not land. It's not livestock. It's not anything that's of physical value besides you trading it for something of physical value. That being said, the money can easily be transferred electronically to an electronic system. That being said, they got everybody spending their money on meaningless things that are not of true value. Only things that can get them to the next paycheck or get them a little bit of joy to their next paycheck. Therefore, they have the whole system locked down in the matrix with the illusion of money. The fact that people need the money and most people love the money, it has created an evil vibration up into the world. The Romans created the system of money that we see now, the banknotes. As y'all seen in the video, it was Caesar head on the money. In Christ's days, Christ said, render to Caesar what Caesar's. It's they presidents, it's they ancestors and presidents on the money. Yeah, they lied and said they was going to put Harriet Tubman on 20. That was a joke. It's not our money. Even if they put us on the money, if they put Nelson Mandela on the $2 bill, Harriet Tubman on the $11 bill, it's still not our money. Still not our system. And we still are at the bottom of the system. By the time we entered this system was already running. We were slaves when the system was running. And by the time we got involved in the system and started being citizens and being civilized, they had already established the industries that we see today. I have more news clips. We have George Soros getting put out of Congress. You know, Harry Kissinger died. You know, another evil one dropped today. And the LGBT is picking up in Russia. Russia not having it. Russia is kicking out LGBT members. They packing them on a bus and shipping them to Europe. And there's also a news clip about a man who's in court for freeing thousands of chickens and animals. I guess he worked for PETA or somebody because he wasn't having them locking all the animals up. So y'all check this out.
Oh, wow.
Russia's Supreme Court has banned LGBTQ plus activism in a landmark decision Amnesty International blasted as shameful and absurd. The ruling, which asserts the so-called international LGBTQ movement is extremist, threatens to further endanger already persecuted communities. This is transgender activist Ada Blackwell.
I escaped from a conversion camp just over half a year ago. I was kidnapped. They tried to cure me for a year. They tried to convince me that I was not a transgender woman. They failed. De facto, after the adoption of this lawsuit, I will not be able to talk about conversion therapy. It will be forbidden for me because it will be associated with the LGBT topic. I will not be able to help a large number of people. All trans activists, many queer activists have already left Russia. I am one of the last, apparently, who have remained in Russia. What to do next? The only option I know is to leave.
The World Meteorological Organization reports 2023 is virtually certain to become the hottest year on record, warning of worsening wildfires, floods, ice melt, heat waves, and other extreme weather events. Since the start of the year, the average global surface temperature is up about 1.4 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels, or about 2.5 degrees Fahrenheit. That's just 1/10 of a degree below the target limit of 1.5 degrees set by the Paris Climate Accord in 2015. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres announced the findings Thursday as the UN's COP28 climate summit got underway in Dubai.
We are living through climate collapse in real time, and the impact is devastating. We have the roadmap to limit the rise in global temperature to 1.5 degrees Celsius and avoid the worst of climate chaos. But we need leaders to fire the starting gun at COP28 on a race to keep the 1.5 degree limit alive.
Tune into Democracy Now! All next week when we'll be broadcasting from the COP28 UN Climate Summit in Dubai. The White House has confirmed President Biden will not attend the COP28 summit this year, but that Vice President Kamala Harris will be in attendance. This week, the Biden administration launched an auction to sell $3.4 million in oil and gas drilling leases. It's just the first in a series of auctions that'll take place as COP28 unfolds. Over the next 2 weeks, the Interior Department will sell off land exploitation rights in Wyoming, New Mexico, Nevada, North Dakota, Oklahoma, and Utah. This comes as data from the U.S. Energy Information Administration show the Biden administration surpassed the Trump administration in crude oil production, bringing U.S. production higher than at any other time in history. The Center for Biological Diversity warns Biden's fossil fuel projects, quote, threaten to erase the climate emissions progress from the Inflation Reduction Act. The House of
Yeah, family. We're going to get into the second half of the video, but let's recap on what we heard. We heard that oil use in the United States is up at an all-time high. Why? Because the Muslim nations that hold all the oil is not really dealing with America. We heard that Joe Biden ain't going to be able to make it to the summit meeting. Why? Is he in good health? He's sending Kamala Harris to handle his business. Is he in good health or not? What else do we hear in the news? Let me think. Okay, y'all heard it. I can't even recap right now. Let me play the second half of the video, and then we'll recap. But, oh yeah, the temperatures. We know in the scriptures that the scriptures say that in the last days, the sun will be scorching people. People gonna be going back underground probably to live in the water, live underground, because certain people ain't gonna be able to deal with the hot temperatures. You've seen people all laying down in the park. So what's going on with the climate changes? Is it the emissions from the factories shooting all of this smoke into the firmament and the atmosphere that's messing up the firmament and causing the temperatures to be very high? Is it what are they doing? They're not doing nothing. They doing what man has always done, destroy themselves. The Most High is doing all things. He's controlling the weather. He's making it hotter or colder. And the more they dig oil and dig resources out of the earth, the more the earth she's going to rebel against the inhabitants. You know, the more they take from the earth, the more they need more food at a high rate. They need oil at a high rate. They need water at a high rate. This great desire that man needs to keep themselves going and to industrialize everything has made everything become almost extinct. These are natural resources we using. These ain't resources that could be created. That the oil, the trees, the food. This is stuff that they're trying to recreate in the labs, but naturally it takes time and it takes a little bit of letting nature be to actually let these things grow. Let's keep reading.
Santos, who repeatedly lied about his professional experience, his background, and likely committed multiple violations of campaign finance rules. Santos painted himself as a victim of a smear campaign, refused to resign as he addressed lawmakers Thursday as they debated his future.
When this vote is on the floor, it is in the conscience of all of my colleagues that they believe that this is the correct thing to do. So be it. Take the vote. I'm at peace.
If ousted, Congressmember George Santos would become just the sixth member of the House ever to be removed by fellow lawmakers. And in California, animal rights activist and attorney Wayne Chung has been sentenced to 90 days in jail after he was found guilty of felony conspiracy and misdemeanor trespassing for rescuing dozens of injured and dying ducks and chickens at two factory farms in Sonoma County, California. The charges stem from peaceful actions at Sunrise Farms and Reichert Duck Farm. Murray Holden, a member of Wayne Chung's legal team, spoke outside the Sonoma County courthouse after Thursday's sentencing.
I believe that this trial will end up in the Book of Animal Liberation when that book is written. I'm tremendously grateful to Wayne for the sacrifice that he has made, the injustice of the fact that a human being is being held in a cage for the supposed crime of compassion, for rescuing other sentient, feeling beings from cages, will not be lost on the world.
Wayne Chung is the co-founder of Direct Action Everywhere, a global network of animal rights defenders. To see our interviews with him, go to democracynow.org. And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy.
Yeah, fam. Got all kind of stuff going on. In the last days, I advise everybody to find the Most High if you ain't found them, to draw closer to the Most High. Because a lot of things is going to start going on in the world that's going to threaten your well-being. That's going to threaten the well-being of you and your family. And physically, things are going to be out of our hands. We have to tap into the spiritual, and we have to depend on the Most High to do things for us while we do things for ourselves. We just can't sit back and think when the time comes that Yah is going to just put us in the best situation. We have to put ourselves in position to be put in position. The Most High never saved the people of Israel without asking them to do things. When he came in Egypt the first time, he told them to put blood on their doorposts and that the destroyer, the angel of death, would not come into their homes. If they didn't, the destroyer came and their firstborn was dead and death came through their household. This being Egypt all over again, the same thing has to happen. The Most High is going to provide us opportunity to believe in him and to come into him and to be protected by him. But we have to put ourselves in position. We have to believe he can. What he did in Egypt the first time was amazing, but this next time is going to be something that's incomprehensible. It's going to be I can't even think of the word. It's just not going to be comprehend. You ain't going to be able to comprehend it. It's going to be incomprehensible. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be something that the eyes can't believe and the ears won't believe when they hear it, when he brings us out of this land. The whole world will know who he has loved and who he has always loved and who he has given his word to, which is us. So-called black people have nothing to do with what's going on in the world today. These wars that's going on, these are white-on-white crimes. The Palestinians versus the Europeans and the Israelis, these are all white people. Excuse my language. All Gentiles. And the Most High has black people and whoever else believes in him put up. And he's awakening us to know what to do in these last days and know how to move in these last days. It's time to get your spirit right. It's time to get your lifestyle right to benefit you. They say about 2030, nobody will own anything. So try to own you some things, try to have you some things. Otherwise, you're going to be at the whims of this government. And if you ain't in position to do, just hold on and endure. Everybody ain't sent to lead. Some people are sent to follow, and some people are sent to lead. If the Most High has created you to lead the people, then lead the people. If the Most High has connected you to great leaders to follow and to listen to, follow and listen to them and believe in the Most High together. We need unity more than we need anything right now. There's no unity. Love has waxed cold. Everybody is for their own selves. This is not the spirit that's going to get us where we need to go. When we came out of Egypt, when we walked through the desert, those who were rebels, who didn't want to follow the leader, Moses, who the Most High set upon the people, they perished and they perished. They murmured, and they wasn't able to deal with the new conditions that were opposite of Egypt at the time. They perished. We got to be willing to go through some hard times. We got to be willing to go through some changes to get the kingdom. The kingdom is for those that endure. Those that didn't give up. Those that held still to the words of Christ. Those that held still to the teachings of him and his prophets. That's who heaven is reserved for. Heaven is reserved for those that endure. Not those that give up. Not those that believe into the world. Not those that believe in politics and believe Donald Trump is going to save us and believe that Elon Musk is going to save us or Bill Gates or any man, any false prophet, any leader, emperor, or king is not going to save the people who believe. No man should save us, as it says in Deuteronomy. Let's take this time to prepare. Let's take this time to pray and let the Holy Spirit lead you into safety, into whatever your destiny may be. You know. Merry Christmas, though. That's Merry Christmas.
Hey, Merry Christmas.
Who's locked in the times, everybody coming to the watchman. Tribulation, every nation, devil out here plotting. Going back to the world that's like eating your vomit. Son of the highest, crack the sky like a comet. We don't need opinions, you could really keep your comments. Thought he wasn't coming, but he had perfect timing. Can't be sleeping on your job, man, we the watchmen. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, like a rocket. Israel, we got problems, man, yeah, they can't.